Hey, I'm Bradley Pounds, and these are my top 5 red flags to look out for when you're interviewing sales agents. Red flag number 1 is the big one, and that is tardiness. Yes, tardiness, like good old being late. I would say that probably 1 out of every 3 or 4 interviews is seriously late without a good excuse. And what you'll find is that that's a great predictor of how this individual runs his or her schedule and what they'll be like in terms of showing up for daily activities on your team. Remember that in the interview, this is the very best version of this person that they have to put forward, right? So it's only downhill from here. Red flag number 2 is personal appearance. Listen, I don't want to sound shallow, but remember that this person will be out there representing you and your brand. And, right, wrong, or indifferent, the way that we present ourselves is received by others to be an indication of how seriously we take our business. People look at what you're wearing and they sort of like make a very quick half-second assessment about how good at your job you are, how successful you are. And so if you have someone who's showing up to an interview in shorts and a t-shirt, this is not something that we planned, at the absolute last minute. They've known about this for a significant amount of time, enough to put on like a shirt, then you have a good predictor about how they're going to be presenting and representing your brand out there in the field. It's just not going to be a match. Red flag number 3 is good old negativity, and this sort of manifests itself in a few different ways. Oftentimes what you'll find is that the agent prospect talks about their previous brokerage experience in a way that's very negative, and in terms of it feels a little gossipy and talks about the drama in the office and maybe names people by name, just a way that's very unprofessional. If you think that that person is not going to do the same to you whenever they leave your organization, you're probably kidding yourself, and it's a good indicator of how they're going to operate while they're on your team. And as we know from experience, negativity is just sort of a cancer. Whenever you let it onto your team, it will have collateral damage and you'll lose other agents as the negative individual sort of infects other people with their attitude. Interview red flag number 4 is this: if the agent prospect leads with splits. So basically, you sit them down at the table and they immediately start talking about splits. That's a great indication that they think that the brokerage opportunity is a commodity, meaning this is just a place for them to hang their license. If they use that phrase, that's a red flag in and of itself. So if they lead with splits, you can tell that their mind is just about that simple calculation, and it's not about being part of a greater team. It's not about, thinking about the value that you offer and an appreciation for the value that you're going to be offering in the team model. And it's a good indication that this is just not going to work out. Okay, and the 5th and final red flag that I want you to be on the lookout for is ego. There are more and more people who've entered our business in recent years because they see television shows that glamorize being a real estate agent. And so you'll have someone who's never done a deal walk into your office in giant sunglasses for no reason, and you talk a good game about lofts and $1 million properties and all this stuff when they actually have produced nothing. And that person thinks that being a realtor is about driving around in a Bentley and, pointing at saltwater pools and then collecting a $30,000 check, right? So it's a good indicator that they are not going to be willing to do the work that they need to do. If they have rules around, I only work downtown condos or anything like that, especially if they haven't done deals before, this is not going to work. That person has a rude awakening in for them. They're not going to be willing to do the hard, gritty work that it takes to do buyer deals when you're in your early agent career phase.